Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Attention Ditto Heads.
I do that same.
Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the soul of excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
People sometimes ask me, why is an assemblyman from Long Island talking about New York City? Well, because while New Yorkers are getting crushed by high electric and gas bills, Kathy Hochul, as we saw, just handed New York City $1.5 billion. That's on top of the $8 billion of our money spent on the illegal aliens, including those fancy hotels in New York City, paid for by us taxpayers on Long Island and across New York State. Many of the laws passed in Albany seem to benefit New York City first, while the rest of us pay the price. And why did they do it? Because they're afraid of being primaried, as most of them are, by the DSA, the Democrat, Socialist, Communist crowd. Long Islanders and upstate New Yorkers are not the piggy banks of New York City.
Yes, you are. And get over it. You're going to keep paying. Welcome, my friends, to the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. There is still all sorts of controversy in New York over the new mayor's tax plan. We will cover that. Things are happening around the country, areas where you are. If you are in Florida, oh man, today was kind of a weird day. Cut 3. Keep the music going. Just play. This is one of the things that happened in Florida today.
A student participating in a walkout at Palm Beach Lakes High School was hit by a car along North Military Trail. That child was rushed to the hospital and is expected to be okay.
And as tensions flared up, separate protest sites across our area, cameras capturing two people here, a man and a woman, appears to be maybe a student, struggling with police as officers tried to control the growing crowds.
Letting kids out of school to protest ICE. And yeah, a kid gets hit by a car. I wonder if the school is going to get sued. Things are happening. Keep the music. I wonder if things are happening in Chicago, of all places. Cut 1, the mayor of Chicago. Here's the mayor of Chicago.
Is my face straight? Okay.
No.
All right, keep a straight face here. The Bears belong in the city of Chicago. The Chicago Bears belong in the city of Chicago, right? And I've said repeatedly that the door is always open for conversations, Kevin Warren did call me yesterday. We didn't get a chance to connect, and I still firmly believe that their best position is in Chicago, and it's evidence. The evidence is clearly speaking for itself.
That's because the Bears are planning on getting out of Chicago, going down the road, going to Indiana. I mean, look, you gotta, no offense to people in Indiana. America, small caffeinated moms out there in Indiana. I don't want anybody to take offense, but let me see how I can frame this so not to be as insulting to the good people of Indiana. If you are the Chicago Bears, the Bears, and you're thinking about getting out of Dodge, and you're saying we're moving to Indiana, how, never mind. I think you can figure it. How desperate do you have to, not that Indiana is a bad place. Indiana is a nice, lovely place, but the Indiana Bears?
They're not going to change the name.
They're not going to change it. It'll be like the New York Giants when they left New York. They still call themselves New York. They're really the Jersey Giants. They're really the Jersey Jets. But they keep the name New York because who wants to call themselves the
Jersey Giants?
The Jersey Giants. Even though, I mean, they play like they're the Oh. All right. Not only that, things are happening in Oakland, the city by the bay. More stuff. Here's cut two. Here's what's going on in Oakland, California.
Oakland police say someone broke into the mayor's office and stole a city SUV on Monday. The keys to the vehicle were taken. The car was recovered the next day in Vallejo, and the suspect is still at large. The thieves in Oakland are going into the mayor's office. They take the keys to the SUV and come out and steal the SUV from the mayor's office at City Hall. And they want to defund ICE. They want to defund law enforcement. Oh, boy. All right. Things are still, my friends, heating up. But across the pond today, as you may know. By the way, Mr. Bond is going to be here. His real name is not Mr. Bond. We'll tell you his. But Mr. Bond is going to be here a little later in the show. We promised during the week we would talk to him this week. We had a call on the Saturday show that wanted to know about gold and the high price of gold and all this stuff. We said, I need to talk to an investment guy. So we're going to talk to Mr. Bond. His name is Tom Lemming, but we're going to talk to him at the bottom of the hour. Okay, other stuff to do before we get there. As you may know, Prince Andrew was arrested this morning. Now, usually the Brits can be counted on to put on a good show. This, my friends, was not a good show. They come in, it's his birthday today. Somebody did this on purpose. They're like, when can we get the best noise out of this? We can't stand this guy. When can we really stick it to him? I know, it's his birthday coming up, Mike. Go, let's arrest him on his birthday. Stick him in a little cell. How's that for birthday? You want a little cake? Bend over, have a cake. And some soap. No. But it wasn't a good show. You're going to arrest... You're going to arrest Mr. Mountbatten, Windsor, and they show up with a few police cars, drag him out, he's released already. I was expecting something a little bit more dramatic if they had to do this. You show up, you take him to the Thames River, you get in a rowboat, with constables rowing, and you take him under the London Bridge, and then you take him, once you get under the bridge in the Thames River, you take him to what's called Traitor's Gate at London Tower. And you make him walk up the stairs of London Tower, passing Traitor's Gate, and you put him in the cell that overlooks the Anne Boleyn Memorial Plaque. Carlos, you do know what the Anne Boleyn, you don't know. For those of you in American history who never studied the Brit history, Anne Boleyn was the second wife of Henry VIII. He's the one that, he wanted to marry her. Pope said, no, we can't give you already been married to, the Queen for over a decade. And no, just because she didn't give you a son, no. So they trumped up some charges. Well, I guess history will confirm this out. They trumped up a bunch of charges of adultery. Supposedly she was making out with her brother and some other people. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. Put her on trial. They took her through Traitors Gate, marched her up the stairs, put her in a cell. After they beheaded the co-conspirators, including her brother and a former person that she was betrothed to before King Henry, they took her downstairs, marched her out, chop, chop, bye-bye. Yes! And now they have a plaque. Yes! They have a plaque at the tower, at the part in the courtyard where she got chopped. Chopped in. Now, Henry went on to have, 4 other wives after that. The 6 wives, of course, of Henry VIII. Catherine Howard got the chop treatment too. So 2 of them got chopped. But anyway, if you're going to do it big, make Andrew Mountbatten Windsor go through Traitors Gate. Put him in the cell at the tower. Make him look down on the Anne Boleyn Memorial. They took him to Thames Valley, and Thames Valley police. I mean, you see them all in the English cop shows. Every cop, almost every cop, we're Thames Valley police. They have so many detectives. That place must have the biggest murder rate in the entire world because so many detective shows. Midsummer, the Midsummer thing. Every episode, 3 people get killed. And it's like, dang, man, this place is just jumping with murders. Every detective. They got like 35, 40 detective shows. Anyway, Democrats here are dancing themselves silly. New Mexico, a representative, Melaine Stansberry, part of the sedition crew, the Sedition 6. If a prince can be held accountable, so can a president. Yeah, so can congresswomen who deal in sedition. Miss Melaine Stansberry, Robert Garcia, that congressperson out of California, is calling for Mountbatten Windsor to come clean about his ties with Epstein. And now it's time for the United States to end the White House cover-up. These people, these one-note samba Democrats with this Trump is involved thing, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, and then others, top House Democrat, former Prince Andrew arrests enormous step forward. One of these days, I'm going to actually speak about, because then you have the stories about the so-called the victims of Epstein. And I've said before, some of them are genuine victims. Others, I don't think so. And I'm getting a little fed up with all this victimization around women, including some who were 17, yes, that knew exactly what they were doing. And even recruiting other girls to do it. And now the whole world's supposed to just feel sorry for them because they want to call themselves victim when they knew exactly what they were doing. And recruiting other girls to do the same. But we're not supposed to talk about that. Oh, no. Anyway, let's take a quick break because Latina is back. Latina Brown. Sounds like, Jackie Brown, remember the Quentin Tarantino movie Jackie Brown? It sounds like we could do a new movie with Latina Brown. She's back, and some of the other activists are back. They're all, Mamdani in New York has these people upset. James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Fast this hour in American media continues.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care. Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
So we're looking at the clock. Welcome back, folks. And we realize we don't have enough time to get the full Latina Brown cut in. If anybody knows Latina Brown, tell her she's wanted on this program. Because I want to have this woman on. We may be able to squeeze to it after we check in with Mr. Bond, but if not, we will hold it for tomorrow. People are going off. They are realizing who and what Mamdani really is. Now, there's also another case that we cannot get to just now. I could play one soundbite, but it doesn't explain the full story. This happened down in Georgia. A highly respected Black educator, woman, teacher, and she taught special needs children. And anybody that knows how difficult that is, she's so loved for the work that she does and, well, did. In Georgia, you had an ICE stop. ICE had stopped an illegal immigrant. He decided to flee in a truck. Pickup truck, high speed. During the course of ICE chasing him, after he took off and decided not to obey orders from ICE, here in this country illegally, he does and pops a U-turn and slams into the car of this teacher. She happens to be Black, by the way. He kills her. She is dead. And some in the left have taken to blaming ICE, saying they shouldn't have been chasing him. But there is a growing rage on the part of some of the residents in Georgia who, number one, don't understand why this story has not generated national headlines, why it isn't being talked about like Renee Good, because the victim here was a black school teacher killed by an illegal immigrant. We will cover that story in detail at some point this week. We got to take a quick break. When we get back, Mr. Bond is going to join us. So whatever you do not go away. We've got so much more in this fastest hour in American media.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
James Golden Snerdley with you here. All right, time for Mr. Bond. Folks, his real name is not Bond. He and I met sailing the beautiful seas of the Adriatic Sea on a cruise. I saw him. We shared a dinner table, and he arrived in a tuxedo that was so exquisitely tailored, and everything was so finely coiffed. I said, my gosh, you look like James Bond, mate. And I said, I seriously, I came home talking, I said, man, you got to see this guy. This guy I saw on the cruise, man. This guy wore a tuxedo. I never seen nobody look as sharp as in a tuxedo as this guy did. He looked like James Bond. And so I've been calling him Mr. Bond. In reality, his name is Tom Lemming. He is the Chief Investment Officer of Normandy Investment Advisors. He's had over 36 years of investment experience. And before that was an engineer. What a brain for over 10 years. Tom, Mr. Bond, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm very good, James. Thank you. And you're too kind. Way too kind.
Well, yes, I'm told that once in a while, but not by many. We had a call on the Saturday show, and you've heard the call. He wanted to know what could explain the high prices of gold. I said, what a great opportunity. I told him Saturday, we're going to have Mr. Bond, Tom Lemming, on the show, and he will explain because he's a financial expert. And he and I, and Tom, you and I have also talked about we are going to have you on the Saturday show because you and I have been talking about the 4 seasons of financial health. People go through different things, and we're going to keep revisiting these topics, what people should do at different stages in their lives with finance and so forth. But let's get to his question, which was what explains what's happening with gold right now, and I guess by extension, precious metals and their prices.
Yeah, James, I'd focus on 3 things. One is just basic econ 101 that a lot of your listeners probably had in college, supply and demand curves. You'd see those drawn. Supply has not been that interesting, but demand has definitely gone up from central banks around the world. Interestingly, Poland now owns more gold. Its central bank owns more gold than the European Central Bank. And Poland was the biggest buyer of gold last year among banks. And Princess Di on your show on Saturday mentioned some of that. China's been a big buyer, Brazil, India, and a few other central banks. That's part of it, but that doesn't explain all of it in my mind. Some of it, and this is probably the most important part, is just speculation. Gold has gone asymptotic, and so have other commodities, and we'll talk about why that's the case, why everything at once. But the thing that you always notice with bubbles, whether it's internet stocks in the late 90s or housing in the 04, 05 time period, or even AI stocks today, the higher the price goes, the better the story gets as to why you need to continue to own this or buy more. And it creates that fear of missing out, FOMO. And so that's part of it, speculation. And then finally, the third one I would say is the yardstick by which we measure gold keeps shrinking. So that's the dollar. Gold is priced around the world. Most transactions are in dollars. It's because the dollar is the world's reserve currency. And if you keep shrinking the value of the dollar through inflation, then you're going to get gold at higher prices. I liken that to if you measure the dimensions of the room you're in, and if I lay a yardstick down 5 times in this direction and 5 times in the other, I'm in a 5 by 5 yard room. But if one of my kids cuts 6 inches off that yardstick, and a month later, I can't remember, I'm going to measure my room again, and I lay it down, I'd lay that yardstick down 6 times now. Now, my room didn't get bigger, and gold is not any better than it was. Same conductivity, same number of protons in the atom, same color. But the way in which we're measuring the value of it has diminished. And so that's why you see everything up. Precious metals, uranium, even stocks have been driven higher, and housing prices. So they're all related. And in that case, it's related to a weaker dollar. So.
All right. Let me ask you one general question for today. You said we would get back and talk about you were going to cover something, but let me just ask you this: where do you, in broad strokes, not specifics, are you optimistic, pessimistic, neutral about where the American economy is headed?
I'm optimistic in terms of the policies, in terms of lesser regulation. All of those things are very positive, but Donald Trump came into office with stocks up a lot. It does remind me, certainly for the internet-related, or in this case now the AI-related parts of the market, very expensive, just like the late 90s. And so by the time 2000 rolled around, we were clearly in a bubble. And by 2009, stock prices were even lower than they were in 2000. I am worried about that we're going to need all these positive policies to try to grow out of the high prices. There's only been 2 periods of time where price earnings multiples are higher than today, and that's 1929 and 2000. So that's not good company. So we'll need these good policies to grow our way out of it. So there's places where an investor can go, just like in 2000, but I worry about the broader indices, whether it's like the S&P 500, and I worry about gold. When things go asymptotic, it's time to start asking some pretty hard questions.
Great advice. Okay, we've got that. I'm going to ask you to come back with us on the Saturday program. Within a very few, days, weeks, we will start talking about what, especially young people, I want to get started with them. What do young people do that are just starting out now to secure their future? So if you don't mind, that will be the first thing that we talk about. Then there was a brilliant article in the Wall Street Journal. And this article, it says that you are over 65, congratulations. You own the economy. The premise of that is that the elderly are physically and financially healthier than ever. So why do their needs keep taking priority over younger generations? But it's a lengthy article that talks about how the elderly grew wealth. So we're going to cover all that stuff, Tom.
Yeah, I'd love to do that, James.
Okay. Everybody, that is Mr. Bond. Tom Lamming is his name, Chief Investment Officer of Normandy Investment Advisors. He's a seasoned investment advisor, as you can hear when he talks about the past and how things have shaped out in previous decades and previous bubbles. So I'm looking forward to you getting to know Tom very well, especially on our Saturday program. Thanks again, Tom, for joining us.
Thank you, James. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. James Golden, Snerdley here with you. Let's go to the break now so we can do that, and have some time on the other side. We're going to check in, if we have time, we're going to check in with Latina. James Golden. Fastest hour in American media continues.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush.
Now, here's James Golden.
Wow, the beautiful voice of Smokey Robinson. And the Miracles. His wife, by the way, at the time, you hear her voice loud and clear in the background vocals. She didn't perform with them for many years, but she did continue to sing with the group. She was part of the original Miracles. Anyway, today is the birthday of Bobby Rogers, who was born in 1940. American musician and tenor singer with Smokey and the Miracles. He was with the Miracles. Born on the same day, the same year, as Smokey Robinson. Smokey and Bobby Rogers, both born on this day. Smokey Robinson, singer, songwriter, record producer, record executive. One of the most beautiful voices in the history of music to me. Smokey Robinson. Over 4,000 songs he's written, including some really, really big hits. Really big. James Golden Snerdley. Okay, we have time, ladies and gentlemen, for Latina Brown. It goes for almost 3 minutes. I'm warning you, so please be patient with us. But I think she deserves every single moment of this. Mamdani wants to raise property taxes. This is the reaction from New York activist Latina Brown. We played one from her yesterday, and here she is again today.
This is Latina, your favorite community advocate. So this conversation about Mamdani wanting to increase property taxes. As I said before, the ones who are going to feel it is the black community. This is an attack on the black community. For those of you who understand where I'm coming from, we are all on the same page here.
You better explain this, baby.
This is an attack to get New Yorkers, born and bred New Yorkers, out of their homes, to take away their homes so that he can have his people come in and take over New York City. This has always been the plan of the Democratic Party. This has always been the
Democrats.
The only difference is that Mamdani is telling you straight to your faces with a big smile on your face. You can give your heart, mind, body, and soul to an employer, to this city, and it wouldn't make one bit of a difference because the party, which is one party rule, the Democrats, would take everything away from you quickly, right?
Goodness.
Now, they prop up this guy. They propped up AOC. They propped up Mamdani. They propped up all of these DSA people, these radicals, to come in and strip you of your dignity, strip you of your pride, take away your home ownership, your businesses, make your communities unsafe, make you feel like you're trapped in your own community, make you feel like you have to be forced to give up your paychecks to illegals, to take care of illegal criminal aliens. Really think about this. What are the Democrats, or what, better yet, what have they done for the black community? What have they done for the middle class families? What have they done for families who are struggling to make ends meet? Besides tearing up the homes and putting criminals out on the streets and protecting criminals and putting illegal aliens ahead of us. Black people, you're going to have to really wake up and really start rethinking how you vote and vote the opposite, because Mamdani is a plant and he is telling you to your faces, to all of us, that we are not welcome in our own damn city anymore. That's exactly what's happening here. We are no longer welcome in our own city. This is a takeover. This is a shakedown. It's him telling taxpayers that if he doesn't get money to fund illegal aliens, it's an FU to American citizens. Let that sink in.
Oh, my. All right, let's be fair and balanced, so to speak. That was Latina Brown, black activist from Queens, I think, New York, talking about Mamdani's tax policy. Let's go to a young white woman to just cover all bases, not just focus on what, she was focused on how he's hurting the black people of the state. Let's broaden that. Cut 10. Here's another young lady from social media with her analysis of Mamdani's tax plan.
What would rather do is ensure that they remain as they are so that the city can be on firm financial footing. However, in order to get to this point of closing the gap on both this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the retiree health benefits trust reserve, and to increase property taxes across these other years.
But I thought everything was supposed to be free. And what is considered an emergency today in New York City, an emergency enough where you have to raid the rainy day fund of nearly $1 billion while also giving $1.2 billion to illegals? What's the emergency? Could it be Mamdani's policies? If your political strategy is considered an emergency enough to raid and rob and steal from the emergency fund, it is you that is the problem. You have a nearly 5% GDP growth. Where's the emergency? Oh, that's right. People are leaving, which means the tax base is shrinking and the government is overspending. That's the emergency that was created by socialist policies that the people voted in. So the solution, get this is how socialism works. Tax the rich, tax the corporations. Okay, well, the people with the financial freedom then leave. So the solution becomes tax everyone else. So the middle class, the working class get hit the hardest, and they get taxed basically until they're poor. And socialism does its thing where what socialism, everyone except somehow the ruling class. And the more you tax the average person, the more people are going to leave, which decreases.
Yeah, you get the drift. We're going to leave you today with Smokey Robinson. May God bless each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back tomorrow for the Friday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.